Good morning, all of you. I'm sure it's a real good morning. Have you been able to know each other slightly? It will take a while, but it will be great connect, a connect for lifetime. Shri P.C. Modi, Secretary General Rajya Sabha, an enormously talented person, 1982 batch Indian Revenue Service official, had the longest term as CBDT chairman and now functioning as Secretary General of Rajya Sabha during my tenure and also during the tenure of my very distinguished predecessor, Venkaiah Naidu ji. So he stands for continuity. His words are very significant. Prime Minister's mission, his passion, can be executed primarily by those who are fundamental to democracy in the world. In the world, I say, youth. And for India, you constitute the remarkable demographic dividend for youth. Our age is around 28, that of US and China is around 38, 39. So our youth demographic dividend is envy of the world. You have to bear that in mind. The growth engine can fire on all cylinders only with your active participation. You are the most vital stakeholders in governance and democracy. And fortunately, you are living in an era where the country is brimming with hope and possibility, a situation far distant from my days. Hope and possibility. Anything is within your reach. You only have to go to global organizations, what they speak about India, Bharat, IMF. India is favorite global destination of investment and opportunity. World Bank President has said, our digitization, accomplished in less than 6 years, is not achievable otherwise in more than 4 decades. Now these bodies are applauding us, because there is a ground change, people-centric policies, and therefore time for us to take pride. We are Indians. We belong to the largest, oldest, and most functional democracy on the planet. We have a unique history of more than thousands of years, 5,000 years. No country comes close to it. Let me welcome in particular today, whose presence I have solicited, and that is Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Chair, Dr. Amal Raja. He is accompanied by Dr. Sankreshwari. My wife is also a doctorate, has a doctorate in economics. So I am in the same boat as Dr. Amal Raja, because we have superior authority at home and around always. Please. This chair was initiated after one of the distinguished sons of Bharat, the first vice president who became president, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, a philosopher, and also known for his academic commitment as a teacher. The chair was initiated for the first time in the year 2009. Technically, Dr. Amal Raja is the third recipient. De facto, second. The chair was made functional during my tenure, when Jawahar Kaur, a distinguished journalist from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, deeply committed to nationalism, got the honor to get the chair. And Dr. M.L. Raja from deep south state of Tamil Nadu is the second one to get it. He is a highly qualified medical professional with extensive experience in medical practice and unlikely companion being humanities. Normally the two do not go together. So you have in you convergence of both. Apart from ophthalmology, he is an expert on ancient history, archaeology, and epigraphy. But I venture to say something, a slight transgression. Ophthalmologist can correct only physical vision. Problem arises when there is distortion of figurative vision. That is beyond ophthalmology. That can be done only by change of national mindset. Authored already 13 books in Tamil and English on historical and scientific topics. Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu recognized and accredited him for his Tamil literary works. Rajya Sabha Secretariat is indeed blessed to have such a recipient of this chair, and I am sure he will contribute in exemplary manner. About the chair, let me tell you, in 1962, September 5 was declared as Teachers' Day. It happens to be birthday of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. That underscores that you may have any position, president, vice president, you may be a philosopher, you may be a great author, but social recognition has come by virtue of his being a teacher. Teachers' Day. Always bear that in mind. Respect your parents as much as you respect your teachers, either way. कहते हैं गुरु गोविंद दोनों खड़े कांके लागू पाए बलिहारी गुरु गोविंद यो बताए. Coming back to this internship program, it's a promising opportunity for young minds to gain first-hand experience of Parliament, its building, its ethos, its background, its functioning, and its rich values. The new building of Parliament that came into being during COVID, in a record time of less than 30 months, fully furnished and functional, showcases our cultural history of more than 5,000 years. You must have seen that, or you'll be seeing in the course. This internship will instill in you a sense of responsibility, fire you with zeal of nationalism, and expose you in turns to the core values of our democracy, which is inclusivity. You always have to bear in mind, India, Bharat was not born in 1947. We are a nation with long traditions. Indian Parliament is much beyond a legislative body. It is reflection presently of 1.4 billion people will. It is the only legitimized constitutional platform that reflects authentically the will of the people, and therefore Parliament has primacy. Parliament has primacy not in everything, because there are areas where executive has primacy, how to govern. Judiciary has primacy, how to deal with justice system. But Parliament has primacy on two counts. One, it is ultimate authority to make law. Secondly, it holds executive accountable. Because governance is defined by some fundamentals. And one fundamental is transparency. Second is accountability. And in modern times, you have added a third facet to it. Optimal performance by institutions to gallop our progress trajectory. Parliament is a place, ultimate place for debate, dialogue, discussion, and discourse. When you will be exposed to parliamentary functioning of committees, you have to be highly inquisitive. By and large, on several issues, you have to self-learn. Self-learning is a new mode of learning because even those who walk out of universities and colleges, learning never stops. We'll be on quicksand of time if we don't change with times. And therefore, as reflected rightly by a philosopher in pre-Socrates era, Heraclitus, the only constant in life is change. You may leave. You have to attend a committee. The Secretary General has to attend an important committee. I can see the time and he must be there at 11:30. I'm sure you will make it. Our Constitution, boys and girls, is a most sacred document. You will come to know how it was formalized, little less than 3 years, by our founding fathers, who dealt with divisive issues, contentious issues, issues that were highly inflammatory. But they dealt it with an approach of coordination, cooperation, consensus, something we have to learn in life. And for that, what is important is that you must always respect the other point of view. Because if you think you alone are right, the other person is wrong, you are depriving yourself of a great benefit of input. And secondly, my own experience is, more often than not, the other point of view is the correct point of view. Pathak notes. Somsekhar, another distinguished additional secretary, smiles. This document, painstakingly evolved, has taken note of our civilizational growth also. If you look at the Constitution as signed by framers of the Constitution, you will have the occasion to see it. When you see it, you will find it has 22 miniatures. Each miniature reflects our historical past, glorious historical past. It shows Gurukul, it shows Indus Valley Bull, it shows Ram, Sita and Lakshman coming back to Ayodhya after triumph of goodness over evil. That is in part 3 of the Constitution, fundamental rights. When it comes to directive principles of state policy, you will find Bhagwan Krishna giving discourse to Arjuna at Kurukshetra. And you can keep on going to other facets, you will know about it. But Constitution grants fundamental rights. But Constitution, apart from granting fundamental rights, also ordains every citizen to perform duties. Rights have no meaning unless they are enforceable. And therefore, boys and girls, note, India is amongst very few countries in the world where for enforcement of a fundamental right, you can knock the door of the highest court of the land. You can access judiciary at the premium level to vindicate your fundamental rights. But every citizen and institution must exercise their powers within constitutional boundaries, upholding constitutional ideals. We can love our neighbor only when we don't make incursion in the exclusive domain of the neighbor, physical territory and otherwise. This constitutional domain sanctity is required to be preserved in all situations. If there is any disruption of it, you can sense danger. Like institutions, even political tribes have a moral duty to the national cause, because ultimately all institutions, the legislature, the judiciary, the executive, the focal point is national growth, national welfare, public welfare, to generate transparency, accountability, honesty. On issues of national security, economic progress, all factions need to put national interest over partisan priorities. I will appeal to everyone in the political spectrum to seriously reflect, come to a conclusion that on issues of national security, on issues of growth, on issues of our internal security, there must be consensus. Sometimes politics get too hot for nationalism and security, something we need to overcome. Right now, after Pahalgam and the response thereto, the entire nation is witnessing an upsurge in nationalism. A new sense of patriotism is within us. The entire nation has risen as one. Because for the first time, Bharat has demonstrated to the entire world no more tolerance of terrorism. This is bold, powerful Bharat. And that is why something the history will record. It never happened in our country before and has happened in the world very infrequently. Murid ke, Bhavalpur, headquarters and bases of Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, they were targeted precisely, penetratingly, devastatingly, causing no injury to peace-loving people, targeting only the terrorist, because our civilizational essence is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, world is one. And therefore, India's strategy has been to target not civilians, but only terrorists. And what a demonstrable exercise it was. Their coffins were escorted by their army, by their politicians, by terrorists. No proof needed. So, I emphasize, we can serve the nation impactfully as individuals because we have the opportunity to contribute by performance of duties. The balance has to be maintained. Let us not cherry pick. We'll go for fundamental rights, claiming them 24/7, and be totally oblivious of fundamental duties. Boys and girls, you will have the occasion to focus on Constitution. But Part 3 of the Constitution is heart of it. Articles 12 to 35, they give 6 fundamental rights. Right to equality. Earlier we had privileged pedigree. Meritocracy had no place. Patronage was a password for a job, for a contract. Some people thought we were above law. Some people thought we are beyond the reach of law. They thought we are immune to law and law enforcing process. Now you know it, all are equal. Those who thought they are beyond the reach of law are facing the heat. The second is the right to freedom. Now this right is very fundamental because expression and dialogue, discourse define democracy. But this comes with a great all rights come with responsibility. the right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. But if we focus only on our rights and not on duties, we don't measure up to the requirement of a citizen in the largest democracy, the oldest, the most functional. There are 11 fundamental duties. These duties were not initially there in the Constitution. And I'll tell you for a reason. Our founding fathers obviously expected that we will be alive to these duties. We will respect those duties. But when it was noticed that it is required to spell them out in the Constitution so that people in particular become aware of these, and these were introduced by 42nd Amendment and 86th Amendment. If I have to give a sense of fundamental duties, it is to prioritize national well-being, to contribute optimally for public discourse, public order, public discipline, environment, everything which is known as goodness in life for one and all is the sense of it. You therefore, I think, must resolve, how can I contribute for my nation, for national security, for national economy, for national welfare. The recent episode, Operation Sindoor, has changed our mindset massively. We are now nationalistic as never before. And this is reflected in participation of all political landscape in delegations that have gone abroad to project our message of peace and our complete intolerance to terrorism. And therefore, having seen recent events, we have no choice. We have no other option but to remain united and grow stronger. For national security, we need indigenous strength. War is best avoided from position of strength. Peace is secured when you are ever ready for war. And therefore, strength comes apart from technological prowess, conventional arms strength from people also. That we have to bear in mind. To you in impressionable minds, I wish to give you 5 principles which you need to practice. They are very easy, but they will be game-changing in your life. They will be transformative for society. And all these principles emanate from our civilizational ethos. 1, social harmony. Why should there be disharmony? Why can't there be love, affection? Why can't we respect one another's views? Why should we go on a tangent, dislike the other point of view? If we do not like a point of view, let us be persuasive. Let us be compassionate. 2nd, family enlightenment. Things have to start from the family, from the childhood. We must learn our culture, our values to respect parents. I find most houses do not have Vedas. They do not focus on our cultural background, our historical background. We need to be there. 3rd is environmental consciousness. Now, we do not have another planet to live. This is the only one. But if you go to our ancient knowledge, which is a treasure the world envies, you will know This country has always respected Mother Earth. Earth is not exclusive preserve of human beings alone. It is for all living beings, flora and fauna. And therefore, we have to be extremely careful. Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi, gave a clarion call. Ek ped maa ke naam. This has become a movement now. But why only one, why not more? And planting a sapling is not the end of it, it is the beginning. You have to nurture it and sure it is there. Swadeshi, I'll focus on that. Sometimes people wonder, how can we contribute? Swadeshi is closely connected with economic nationalism. Economic nationalism means we must consume Swadeshi. We must always take into consideration being vocal for local. This will inspire our people also to cater to our needs. But if we start importing from other countries items that are generated in this country, that can be made in this country, we are immediately inviting three troubles. One trouble, there is avoidable hole in our foreign exchange reserve, and this is in billions of dollars. Second, when we import items that can be made in this country, we are snatching work from our own people. We are depriving them of work. And thirdly, more importantly, we are blunting entrepreneurship. So every individual can contribute. What cloth he wears, what he eats, what he wears as shoes also. Everything, these are consumables. We fancy what is abroad, unmindful of the situation that we are injuring our national economy. I therefore assert economic nationalism is business of the people. They can moderate it. Secondly, I appeal to trade, industry, commerce, and business. What I tell them, please don't export raw materials. Add value to raw materials. If you export raw materials, you are declaring to the world two things. One, that you are not capable of adding value, which we are. And similarly, all three things happen. We can have more foreign exchange, if value is added, our people will get job, our entrepreneurs will blossom. So if these five results, which obviously are meant to awaken national consciousness, are practiced by you, the nation will rise. A nation is defined also by discipline, dedication, and nationalism of its citizens. And I'll tell you, how can we have public disorder? Public disorder has become order of the day. People take to streets even if court notice is issued. Why? We should use our social media to rebuff these sinister thinking. Secondly, how can we set at fire or destroy public property? We need to shame these people who engage into anti-national activities. What a painful sight it is when some people engage in wanton destruction of public property, pelt stones at Vande Bharat and other aspects that are symbols of our growth. You, therefore, boys and girls, have to be ambassadors of New Bharat with the new ideas that are meant to blossom democracy, generate progress, and enhance our reputation globally. I would urge you, get out of the groove. Right now, our youth is by and large not aware of the opportunity basket it has. The basket is getting fatter and fatter. If IMF said India is hot destination of investment and opportunity. It is surely not on account of government jobs. Am I right, Sumant? Sumant is from Harvard. Am I right? And where is Chirayu? Well, Chirayu is there from Cambridge, Oxford, and all that, King's College. It is on account of the opportunities beyond government jobs. We have to get in modern trend. Blue economy, space economy, disruptive technologies offer challenges but opportunities more. The government has affirmative policies. Look to that. I'm sure you'll do that. On this occasion, I seek to make a policy announcement also. Not one but two. Boys and girls, this is the 7th batch of Rajya Sabha Internship. 7th. We are thinking of having it on one platform so that you get to connect with your earlier colleagues also. We are going in for a structured mechanism. We will soon have a platform that will connect alumni in every part of the country and some are outside also. This will give rise to a community that will freely exchange ideas, share thoughts for national welfare. Second, Rajya Sabha will have an autonomous institution that will help elevate and inform the public discourse through research and dissemination. Research is fundamental to industry, fundamental to growth. But there has to be research in other areas also. I have focused on several occasions. Research has to correlate to ground reality, to ground impact. Research is not for self. Research is not something to be put in the self to gather dust. Research must be authentic. Research must impact ground realities. It must be people-centric. And when we are having this new mechanism, it will engage in capacity building program for MPs as well, in due course. It will have transformational impact, obviously, on the legislative ecosystem, because underlying your work will be how you handhold an MP. That is your assignment fundamentally. You can handhold an MP only by being thoroughly involved with the law process concerning parliamentary work.